how to change our default thoughts away from all these thoughts of our partner's past. Welcome back to another video. My name is Matt, and I help people overcome retroactive jealousy. And again, this video, we're going to talk about our default thoughts. Right now, we have a habit of thought that's really not serving us. The habit of thought we have are the thoughts of our partner's past that we continue to think about over and over and over again. And there's a reason why we continue to think about this over and over and over again, because it's our habit. We've strengthened that neural pathway in our brain so much, that thought route, we strengthen it so much that it's the path of least resistance for our thoughts to travel down. And they just automatically go down that route because that's all we've ever been thinking about. So how can we start to change that habit of thought, change that default thought into not thoughts of the partner's past, maybe other thoughts, maybe more empowering thoughts, more thoughts of confidence, more thoughts of confidence in our relationship, more confidence in our ability to overcome anything we want, and our ability to overcome retroactive jealousy. How are we able to do that? And we'll talk about that in this video today. Before we do though, if you could take a quick moment and smash the like button, that will activate YouTube's algorithm and get this video out to more people that need to see it. So I'd greatly appreciate it. And also, if you've not heard the news yet, I am now accepting both PayPal and payment plans on my Retroactive Jealousy 30-day coaching program. A lot of people have been requesting wanting to be able to get on a payment plan of some sort, because I understand coaching is a bigger investment. And so those are now available for you. And also I'm accepting PayPal as a payment as well, which is something that I had not had the opportunity to do before. So I think everybody around the world now has the opportunity to get the help they need, get the coaching they need, and will be able to afford it even more with the payment plans available. So please check the links in the description below if you want access to that 30 days of WhatsApp coaching with me. I think we can definitely help you get to the other side of retroactive jealousy once and for all. Okay, so this idea of our default thought. Remember, if the more we think about something, the more we build up that neural pathway in our brain, that thought route, so to speak, the stronger it gets and the easier it starts going down that way, right? So that means we can be, if we're having certain thoughts of our partner's past and we're thinking about it so much, we can now look at this tree outside and we can have that tree somehow relate to our retroactive jealousy, right? Oh, there's the tree. It's probably a very similar tree to where my girlfriend was hanging out in the park with this dude where they had, sex under a park bench or something, right? Very kind of out of the ordinary, very stretched, but because we're thinking about it all the time, it activates this reticular activating system in our brain, which we start to see more of it come up. We start to relate more of it into our everyday lives. And so we're always triggered, right? And we're thinking about it more. We go to bed thinking about it. And so we wake up thinking about it. It's just constantly happening. We're constantly thinking about it because it's our default thought. These thought routes and neural pathways are so strong when it comes to these thoughts. And so the trick is, or the idea is, how can we start to weaken these neural pathways, weaken them? And the idea is to not think about this stuff anymore, right? Easier said than done, but not think about it anymore. But that's kind of the key. The key is when these thoughts come up, because they're going to come up, they are a habit of thought, they're going to come up. But instead of giving into the thought and indulging in a thought and going down this rabbit hole with the thought, instead we have to stop ourselves before we dive too deep. We need to take a breath, and we need to realize that exploring this thought is not going to serve us. It's going to make things a whole lot worse, and we need to stop. And we basically take scissors almost and just and cut off that thought route, and we end it, right? It's like taking some electrical wires and just taking some scissors and cutting the wires, right? We are weakening the thought by doing that, because we're not letting it go down more and more into this rabbit hole. We're not letting it build up more and more and more. We're cutting it off at the source. There's a lot of power in that. And there's a lot of people that go, well, if I'm not thinking about the thought, if I don't dive into the thought, I need to think about this, right? I'm not going to be okay if I don't think about it. I need to think about this stuff. I need to think it through. So I need to keep and dive. But the truth is, it's the opposite, right? It's the opposite. You'll be fine if you don't think about this stuff anymore. You'll be fine. Like I said, there's millions of people out there that probably aren't happy with what happened in their partner's past, but they don't think about it, right? They don't think about it. They choose not to think about it, and it doesn't bother them, right? Or if a thought comes up that bothers them, they say, that's irrational to think about that. I don't want to think about it right now. And so they don't. There's no strength in neural pathway. And so they can think about other things, right? It's just like anything in life. Someone asks you, a random question, hey, what about your, birthday party that's in 2 months from now? You might say, oh, I haven't even thought about that, right? It might be something important. It's a birthday party, but no, you haven't even thought about it. It hasn't even crossed your mind because it's not a default thought. It's not happening over and over and over again. You're thinking about something else. Even though this thing's very, very important, you haven't had time to think about it. It's not happening, right? Eckhart Tolle talks about this, and he says every thought that we have has a magnetic pull. It wants life. It wants to grow. And so it's going to pull you this way and say, wait, come over here. I'm very, very important. Think about me. Oh, I'm very, very important. Come over here. Think about me. I'm very, very important, right? They pretend. That's the thing, though. They pretend to be so important. We could stop thinking right now and live the best life ever. We could stop thinking. We could use our brain for what they're really intended for, right? And that is like analytically to help us survive, to help us thrive. But all these extra illusionary thoughts about the past and about the future, if we stop thinking about it, we would gain so much more clarity about the past, about the future than ever before. We would get all the answers that we ever need by simply just stopping these thoughts. So I want you to kind of wrap your mind around that idea. These are our default thoughts. These thoughts of your partner's past, they are our habit of thinking right now, and we have to break that connection. We break it by no longer diving into the rabbit hole, by no longer getting trapped in it, by understanding they are just pretending to be important, but they're not. And the more we dive into them, the more real we make them, the more they take over us. The stronger they get and the worse we get. So when the thought comes in, we allow it in, and when it wants to pull you and say, hey, follow me, come down the rabbit hole, we can say, you're just pretending to be important. You're pretending to be important. And I know you're not. I'm going to refocus back on what I was doing. I know following you will do me no good. I know the cure is to refocus, and I'm going to refocus. And you do that over and over and over again. Okay? Again, you're going to feel the emotion. It's uncomfortable. You're going to feel that trigger to say, no, you need to explore. You need to explore. The thought is pulling you along with your emotions. But again, take a breath. Understand that feeling, yes, it doesn't feel good, but it cannot kill you. It cannot kill you. You might have had RJ a lot up to this point, and you have not died yet, right? And you felt a lot of negative emotion up to this point, but none of it's ever killed you. You're still alive. So that feeling will pass. It always does. Refocus and do it again. Refocus and do it again. You are again weakening the neural pathways. You are weakening these as being your default thoughts. They are no longer becoming your habit of thoughts. When you stop thinking about it so much and you start focusing on other things, you're changing that map in your brain completely. And more dominant thoughts are going to start overpowering these retroactive jealousy thoughts. And you'll stop thinking about them so much. You'll stop thinking about them so much, and then the anxiety around the thoughts are going to calm. And then you'd be able to actively bring up the thought in your mind like I am right now, and it will just not bother you. There's just no anxiety there. It's very powerful. But that's because there's no fear attached to it anymore. There's no habit of thinking attached to it anymore. I know it pretended to be important for so long, but it's not. And so I stopped giving it the power, and now it stops having the power over me. If you enjoyed today's video, please take a moment and smash the like button so we can get the video out to more people that need to see it. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Click the notification bell so you are alerted every time I post a new video. And once again, if you want one-on-one coaching with Retroactive Jealousy, I'd love to personally help you. I'm accepting payment plans. I'm accepting PayPal. I'm accepting normal card payments. Anything to get you to join me, to get me to be able to help you out. I really, really would be a pleasure and an honor to help you overcome this thing. We spend the next 30 days together. WhatsApp, we can send audio, video, text messages, anything to each other, and power through this thing and get to the other side. I know you're absolutely capable of doing that, and I love to be right next to you every step of the way. Now, again, all that information is below in the links in the description below. I hope you have a fantastic, fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.